What's up, Internet? This is Rambling Josh, and you're watching another episode of Let's Play Ark the Lad. Today we continue our hyperspace clear through the Forbidden Ruins. Last time around we showed off the first... we showed off up to floor 36. Technically it wasn't the first 36 floors since we started at floor 5, but that's just semantics that no one really cares about. So, since there are 50 floors in the Forbidden Ruins, of course we have another 14 floors to show you today. Things are getting a little bit harder, so things take a little bit longer. But whatever. The fact that I was able to squish down the entire 45 floors down into 2 episodes makes me very happy. It's a very long process clearing through all this stuff, so I was kind of concerned about how long it would take. I didn't want to do more than a few episodes, but it turned out pretty well. So anyways, honestly there isn't a whole lot to say about the Forbidden Ruins that I didn't say last time around. So I'm gonna kind of be making it up on the spot. Not that that's not what I normally do. But anyways, one of the biggest things, well, before I talk about that, I should probably mention this floor here that you see is floor 40. And it's actually very similar to floor 30 in that it's, okay, well apparently that was floor 39, not floor 40. But that floor with the 4 dragons, it's very similar to the 30th floor in that you have a couple of very hard enemies, so you're best off just kind of ignoring them and going straight for the exit. Which kind of lends itself to what I was going to say next anyways. So, the further I get into the dungeon here, the more I want to kind of ignore enemies, I guess you could say. I mean, that's kind of been the case all along, but in general, once I get all of the treasure chests on a floor, I'll just head straight to the next floor. And that just kind of leads back, or refers back, or something, to what I said at the very beginning. And that's that the monsters here are just kind of in your way. So, I mean, whether or not you want to kill them is kind of up to you and should depend a bit on the situation, but in general, I was aiming a little bit more for speed just because I wanted to get through the whole dungeon and not have it be a ton of episodes long. What I will say, though, is that I focus a lot more on killing enemies early on, partly because I want the experience, obviously. So eventually I kind of shift away from that a little bit, and my approach changes a bit. So when I first came in here, I think Ark was like level mid-50s or something like that. And it didn't take him very long to actually get to level 60, which is the maximum. So at that point, I tried to kind of shift away from Ark a little bit, and try and use him more as kind of a buffer between the enemies and my guys, so that my guys don't just get slaughtered. I tried to use Iga a little bit more for doing the actual killing, since he is like a very strong character, but he also still got experience. When we get to this point, though, where we're in like floor 40s, my approach changes a little bit again. Everyone but Iga and Ark basically become like chest openers, and I mean they literally just focus on opening chests and throwing stones and stuff like that, while Ark and Iga try and kind of tackle all of the level's challenges. And in a lot of cases, I mean, the further I get, the more I just kind of beeline to the exit. I kind of stop caring about the enemies once my characters start running out of MP a little bit. If I had more MP, I would probably try and kill more stuff. I mean, Gogen could kill a lot of stuff here if he had more MP, but he doesn't. And actually, in that respect, one of the things I don't think I mentioned in the last episode is there's this accessory called the Goddess Amulet. And I forget where I got it, but it decreases the MP cost of your abilities by 50%. And now, normally that's not that useful because battles in this game don't tend to last super long. So, and I mean, when they do last a while, it's usually not because they, it's usually not because you're, like, doing a lot of attacking. It's because you're, like, running after people and stuff. So you're not doing a lot of casting anyways. So, usually the Goddess Amulet isn't very useful, but in here it is, because obviously you're not getting your health or your MP restored very frequently. In fact, you're not getting it restored at all. So, I find it's a very good idea to give the Goddess Amulet to someone. Your exact approach to it, kind of, you can go about it a few ways. I just gave it to Gogen, and just kind of went from there. But probably a better way to do it is to have like one person that you focus on using their abilities at a time. Specifically, like if I just gave it to Gogen and then used up all his MP, and then I could take the Goddess Amulet and switch it to, say, Poco, and then use all his MP. It just lets you get a lot more, well, like twice as many attacks in using your MP. Something else I don't think I mentioned is items. At least I hope I didn't mention them. I might have, but I honestly can't remember. So items are pretty useless throughout the game, but once again, in here, they serve pretty useful because they're a very good way, specifically I'm referring to like healing items, but they're a very good way to keep your HP up without wasting MP on healing. I mean, early on, you're going to be getting hit by a lot of attacks that do like 5 damage. So, a normal healing herb is a really good way to top yourself off without wasting your MP. And later on, even when the damage you're taking is a lot higher, I tend to like using energy fruits, which restore 60 HP. I like to use those on anyone who needs like single target healing, and then save my healing spells for whenever there is like multi-target healing that needs to be done. I just find it's that helps a lot for making your MP go the distance. If nothing else, that means you can use your MP a little bit more to focus on killing stuff rather than just staying alive. Now here's floor 49. Now this is an odd floor because you're basically refighting that giant boss fight. I think it might actually be like completely identical. And it's not very hard, honestly. If you can make it here, you can kill this thing no problem. The good thing about it, however, is that because it's so easy, it's really easy to get this far and then clear out the enemies, and then if you need to, just take the time to pass a whole bunch of turns and restore your MP with the Hero Crest and get ready for floor 50, which you see here in normal speed. So apparently there's someone named Choco here and some giant dead dude on a throne. You sound like a very scary warrior, Choco. I'm the lad who was named Ark. Oh, you've heard of me. Betcha you're scared now? Isn't there a better way to say that? Like... Wait, so Choco is just like a murderous little girl? That's kind of twisted. Why does your head hurt? So here we have the final battle in the Forbidden Ruins, and all that we have left is Ark and Iga. Now that chest in front of the undead, not undead, but the giant skeleton dude. That's the only chest in here that really matters. There's a whole bunch of chests over there to the left, but they're not particularly good items. It's just kind of random stuff like sacred waters and stones and junk like that you don't really care about. And the reason I mention this is because this 50th floor, like, you can never come back here again. Every other floor, once you leave the Forbidden Ruins, like, you can go back to it. But once you finish this fight, you can never come back to the 50th floor. So any chests here that you don't open are gone forever. Now the chests on the left, like I said, they don't really matter. I'm getting them anyways, just because I'm a completionist. To some degree anyways. So I, like, obsess over that. But getting the chest beside the skeleton man is the only one that really matters. And it really matters. Like, from that chest you get Romancing Stone number 4, which is the 4th in the set, and a very good item to find. Basically, now that we have all 4 stones, if you equip all 4 on one person, the MP cost of their abilities is reduced to 0, which is pretty darn nice. So, there's that. Now, dealing with Choco herself is kind of interesting, because she's a very powerful foe. And honestly, I didn't go about it very well this time around. I was, to be honest, a little bit overconfident because I was going in with Iga and Arc, whereas every time previously I've fought her, it's been with just Arc. And I've done just fine. But the thing is, I kind of forgot to change around my accessories a little bit on Arc, because Choco's not an easy foe. She does a lot of damage, she has a lot of HP. So the accessories that I should be using for Arc here, since he's doing most of the fighting, is A, the Book of Corvus, which I have, because her physical attacks have a chance of inflicting status ailments on you. She could do at least blind. I think she has a chance of doing paralysis as well. You should have the Phantom Glove, which does plus 50% offense, which I also have, just so you can actually do damage to her. You should also have the Phantom Shield, which does plus 50% defense, because Choco can do a lot of damage to you as well, so you want to reduce that as much as you can. And I have that on Iga instead of Arc. It's good for Iga, but it would be better for Arc because he has a higher base defense, so it would give him a higher benefit than it does to Iga. Plus, he's taking most of the hits anyways, so giving it to Iga doesn't do a whole lot of good. So, Book of Corvus, Phantom Gauntlet, Phantom Shield, and another good candidate is the Violet Necklace, which gives you a 100% chance of hitting. And the reason that's good is because you may have noticed that Choco is actually quite good at dodging or blocking your attacks. So the Violet Necklace is a good way of kind of removing the randomness out of the encounter and actually being able to hit her. So because I kind of messed up my equipment setup a little bit, you'll notice that the strategy that I've taken for most of this fight is just to mostly just keep myself healed up and rely primarily on counterattacks. Which works. I mean, if you use the accessories that I listed, you shouldn't have to do it that way. And to be honest, I was probably a little bit too obsessive with how much I was healing myself. But it's better to be safe than sorry. I mean, you don't want to make your way all the way down to floor 50 and then screw up, get careless, and die. That would be pretty bad. Realistically though, as long as he has a level 60 arc, you should be able to kill Choco with just him. As long as you're careful. I Having a large supply of healing fruits is very helpful, but not entirely necessary. Choco talks a lot like Changara. Oh, really? I tried to kill you, but I didn't mean it. So for being Choco, we get Choco as a summon for Changara, and she is very strong, but you can only use her in the random dungeon areas, which is kind of unfortunate, but whatever. So, now that the Forbidden Runes are done, we make our way back out, and I will meet you out there, where we'll continue with the story. So, I will catch you next time.